This is an extract from the Leader Coronavirus Daily podcast by the Evening Standard and hosted by me, David Marsland. To hear the whole thing, search for it on your podcast provider.
Dame Vera Lynn's songs of hope to soldiers during the Second World War were echoed only recently by the Queen as she rallied Britain in the face of a global pandemic.
We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
Our editorial column says her passing today is poignant, coming on the day that France's President Emmanuel Macron comes to London to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the wartime broadcast by Charles de Gaulle, announcing the launch of the French resistance.
Dame Vera won hearts with her performances for troops, and her sad loss reminds us of the great sacrifices that the war generations made on all our behalf. The same applies too, of course, to Mr. Macron's visit, which recognises what a significant moment General de Gaulle's broadcast was in helping to pave the way for Hitler's defeat. All our lives have been far better as a result, and Mr. Macron's decision to bestow his country's highest honour, the Légion d'honneur, on London is both justified and an accolade of which we should all be proud. It is also a reminder of the great links between this country and our French neighbours, and the truth that despite intermittent tensions and even past wars between us, Britain and France are stronger when working together.
In May, Dame Vera urged the nation to remember the brave boys and what they sacrificed for us. Today they remember what she gave to them as the force's sweetheart who brought hope and inspiration as they faced their darkest days on the front line of World War II. Sir Andrew Gregory, CEO of SSAFA, the Armed Forces charity, says Dame Vera has persevered as that symbol of hope, especially as the nation faces a pandemic. He joins me now. Andrew, what was it about Dame Vera that's made her such an icon?
So in the British Army there are 6 values: courage, loyalty, integrity, discipline, selfless commitment and respect for others. What Dame Vera had, she respected everybody. She took everybody for who they were. She encouraged people to be their best, to be true to themselves, and that is hugely important. So, as well as her own personal qualities, she was brave, she was prepared to go out onto the front line to make men and women feel valued. She gave what in the British Army we call the moral component of fighting power. She gave people the will to fight, she bolstered morale, and that was a unique quality.
Just last month, she urged the nation to remember the brave boys and what they sacrificed for us. What do you think they're remembering about her today?
I talked to one of my sons who is serving in the British Army, and he said this morning she was a legend because though they'd never met her, though she was probably their great-grandmother in many ways, they felt she espoused the values they lived by in the armed forces. And whether they served in the 1940s, whether they served in the 60s and 70s, whether they're serving today, those values are timeless, and Dame Vera was timeless.
When the nation went into lockdown in March, the Queen evoked her words, "We will meet again." What impact is Dame Vera and her songs still having on the country today amid a global pandemic?
I think it's huge. So in the 1940s, it was very difficult to see light at the end of the tunnel. And for many people, that same challenge is facing them. They're struggling financially, they're feeling isolated, they're lonely. And Her Majesty used Dame Vera's words for exactly that reason. And certainly in SSAFA, the Armed Forces charity, we are finding increasing numbers of people are coming to us feeling very isolated. And I think what Dame Vera would say to those people is, don't suffer in silence. Please seek help. The nation is here for you. SSAFA, the Armed Forces charity, for whom she was a fantastic ambassador, is here for you. Don't feel isolated and lonely. And that's why Today, of course, it is sad that we've lost such a wonderful person, but she would say, don't be sad, celebrate my life and live by what I espoused.
Search for the Leader Coronavirus Daily on any podcast provider to hear more from the podcast.